honored to have you here today, and you are a recognized great in the fashion industry and an entrepreneur, very well respected. And I know everyone would love to know, how did you get started in your career?
Well, I guess I'll try to give you a short version. I can get real detailed. But I started in the fashion business actually through my parents. My parents own 2 millinery shops. For those who don't know, millinery is selling hats, like designer hats for like church ladies that go to church and dress up and things of that nature. So I started in that business with them involuntarily. They made me go every day after school to work at the millinery shop, and I dealt with customers, dealt with inventory, dealt with ordering, and you know, all the things of running the business that I didn't want to do. But later on in life, when I started my business with Daymond, they all came into all those lessons came into play. So when it came to FUBU, I started with Daymond John. Everyone knows him from Shark Tank. We grew up together. We're next door neighbors from kindergarten. And throughout the years, we tried different businesses. Him and I actually used to clean windshields in front of the Queensboro Bridge in New York. And we started collecting scrap metal as kids and bringing it to the scrap place and making money after that. So we tried little things all through life to trying to figure out a way to make extra money. And one day, he decided to buy this particular hat that's only sold in Harlem. And I took a ride with him to buy the hat. And once we got the hat, I looked at it and we analyzed it. I said, we can make these ourselves. So that same day, we went to a fabric store and we bought the material. He had some knowledge of sewing because his mother taught him how to sew his little hems in his jeans, so she didn't have to do it. So he knew how to make a straight stitch. So we analyzed the hat, figured out how it was made. We went to his house, we made the hats ourselves. And that weekend was Easter weekend. We went into a shopping area in our neighborhood called Jamaica Avenue in Queens. And we sold those hats. We sold out. And once we started selling those hats, we basically developed let me put it this way. We started selling the hats, and we got pretty successful at it. We were selling, making good money at it for that whole spring-summer situation. Then other kids started selling the same hats in the same area.
Wow. So
to differentiate, to make ours different, we said we got to think of a name. We got to brand these hats because there was no name at the time. They were just hats. So we thought of, we started thinking of names. What could we name this hat? And we thought of For Us, By Us. That was the first name we thought of. And we thought that name was too long, so we took the first letter from each word and came up with FUBU. And that's how the company started.
Lovely, lovely, and brilliant too. It seems that, you know, entrepreneurship is either in your DNA or not. Either it's innate to you or not, and that's incredible. And I know that a lot of people were looking up to you, especially with you guys doing your thing. Some of my friends and I, we grew up in Europe, and at the time, we were seeing your merchandise overseas, and we were buying it. Everyone was clamoring to wear it, and really just in admiration of you as an entrepreneur and really a trendsetter in urban streetwear. Right. You know, we all know about that era and how influential it was on music. And we also started, just like you mentioned, seeing other types of hats popping up everywhere. The fact that, you know, sometimes the fashion industry can involve some level of fraud or people replicating what you have, compromising the integrity of your brand. At the time, did you notice some people actually doing that? Was that later on, after the launch of FUBU? Did it get worse, or was it something that you really didn't pay that much attention to at the time because you can control it?
Oh, we paid a lot of attention to it. We actually spent a lot of money fighting it, you know, because if you look at Manhattan, there's the fashion district. If you go a little downtown, there's the counterfeit district. And they work hand in hand. So we, like I said, that's something that really hurt us, you know, as a company, because I think a lot of things that people saw in the street that they didn't like about FUBU, we didn't even make. You know what I mean? So you start looking at it because the quality was less, the style and design was less thought through. So it's a lot of subpar product out there. So it hurt us a lot, and we spent a lot of money fighting it. But at the end of the day, you know, it's really not much you can do about it.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is make our quality so good and make our stuff so different to where you know the real from the fake.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And at the time, you know, it was a lot different in terms of tracking customer buyer habits and things like that. It was just probably a matter of keeping count, maybe, of how much volume or how much merchandise you were selling in a particular region. How was that at the time in terms of knowing, you know, how much of a market share you might have had in an area? Or was that something that you guys kind of thought of at the back end? How did that work for you at the time?
Yeah, it's funny because we always. And it's probably I think it's good and bad because we didn't come from a very I would say educated background, like college education and knowing all the background information that it takes to run a business. We went on a lot of instinct. So like someone would go online and see how many likes you got and how many, you know, the analytics, like you say, all the information in the background. We kind of just went off of what the kids said on the street was hot. You know, we would be on the streets. You know, we would be in the nightclubs. We'd be at the different social events and really seeing what was going on the ground. And we take that information and recreate it into fashion. You know, and then make it where someone did something that's really hot on the street, but you can't mass produce it. We recreate it in a way that it can be mass produced in, you know, at retail. So that's how we kind of kept our information flowing, just listening to the consumer. Yeah, it's just a lot easier now. I mean, you can really literally be in your bed and see what's hot, see who's making trends, and see where the market is going. It's a lot easier that way, but we still try to keep our ear to the street. We still try to be out there and on the ground to see what's really going on with the kids in the neighborhoods.
That's fantastic, and I know that social media really has an impact on sales now. This is a gift to this e-commerce and the ability to market literally anywhere in the world, right? And a little birdie told me that FUBU has recently dropped a new line.
Well, absolutely, yeah. We changed our whole look up. You know, like you said, right now it's direct to consumer. You know, there's still a place for, you know, brick and mortar retailers, but right now you can literally create something really hot and put it out in a week, you know, and control your inventory. Now because back in the days, if you want to be like at retail, you got to make, you know, thousands of pieces, different sizes, different colors, just to be there. And not to mention, you know, they don't sell it, but they're gonna return it.
Right.
So you always had that struggle with inventory. Here you can make short runs. You know, you can really pinpoint what people are doing right now at the moment, make those pieces, sell out, go on to the next. So in that case, it's cool. I love it that way because you have a lot more control.
Yes.
But you know, it's every day. You know, every day is changing. It's not like season; it's weekly.
That's right.
So you gotta be on top of your game. That's all.
And it's a gift. Because, I mean, I think with the ability to really market like that in social media, you are widening your target audience. You are widening the opportunity for revenue. And we're seeing a lot of future trends with that as well. You know, you're hearing about virtual reality and the use of artificial intelligence in the future, and literally bringing together one person in India, people in India, and people in Paris or Europe and Africa and South Africa, all to one runway. And with the ability to almost literally feel as if they're experiencing that high couture or fashion show at the moment, and really piquing the interest and potentially, you know, blowing sales through the roof. This is one of the trends that we're hearing about for the future. We've seen it with home design and
It's all interactive now. I'm working with a company now that has the capability of where you on TV, let's say you're watching Sex and the City, you see a dress you like, you can stop the show, point to the dress, they'll direct you right to the website. You know, so like I said, it's all immediate. Everyone wants it fast. Amazon created that whole culture, and now it's just really just finding your place in it and really pinpointing your market.
Yeah. There are definitely a lot of pluses to everything that we have at our fingertips right now. And, you know, we know that the luxury goods market, luxury goods industry and high-end market is really a nice niche area that could benefit from, that benefits off of this personalized or customized service.
Right.
And with that, you know, the need for other technologies are here. I think that with fashion being a $2.5 trillion industry that we've seen contract quite a bit with COVID, I think that everyone is looking for new ways to usher in more sales more efficiently and guaranteeing quality.
Right.
So with that, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit with couture and cryptocurrency. So you and I talked a little bit earlier about the problem with fraud and things like that. We know that with crypto, we have the ability, and we've seen this, where they could actually assign a coin or a token for each piece of goods or clothing or any luxury item. And by doing that, they could really just guarantee for the consumer the quality of what they're actually getting, not just people seeing something online and then when they get it, they're kind of disappointed with it. What are your thoughts on that and the possibilities of really tightening things like fraud?
Well, I think the possibilities are endless. I mean, obviously we all look at how, you know, how volatile it is now, because it's still, compared to regular currency, it's still very new.
Yeah.
But I think looking long term, it's endless. I mean, a couple of hours, like you said, you can really track a piece or a product literally from development to production to in your house, and know that you're getting the real thing. And we're protected as, you know, as manufacturers, to know that, you know, it's getting right to our consumer. We can, it's endless. So
Yeah.
my thing now is I've been looking into it for our company, because I think the main thing is trust when it comes to a system like this. We have to, when it comes to the branding, when it comes to, as long as you have the trust of the consumer with this currency, I think it's, you know, it's gonna just explode as long as the trust is there.
And that's fantastic. So I did kind of hear something that you're looking to it a little bit. Is it safe to say, and I guess probably anybody who's watching this interview would probably want to ask you, have you and your co-founders or your circle, have you guys been thinking of a FUBU coin in the future, something with utility possibly?
Absolutely. I can't get into all the details, but we are looking into a FUBU coin, and we have been looking at it for a couple of years now. It's just we're just looking for the, I guess we're still putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that's in the development stage.
It's really exciting. I think that, you know, go ahead.
Because more than clothing, I think I think a lot of people don't realize we do a lot more than clothing. You know, when we thought of FUBU, clothing was our in to the industry.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't sing, I couldn't rap, you know, but we wanted to get into the hip hop industry. And clothing was our way in, and FUBU was our way in. But we also knew that FUBU was it's bigger than clothing.
Yes.
So we've always looked at other areas to bring under the FUBU umbrella. Right now we're working on TV network. We're working on real estate, commercial, hotels, and affordable housing. We got FUBU Radio up and running. So all these things we want to combine into a currency, cryptocurrency. So we're in the works of these things.
Yeah.
But that's something that's really at the, you know, we're really looking at it hard to make sure that kind of complements everything else that we're doing.
It's a lifestyle.
Right, it's a lifestyle.
That's fantastic. And solid branding. So you're originally from Hollis, Queens.
Hollis, Queens, New York.
And what would you say to the budding entrepreneur that's interested in everything from fashion to crypto, or just really leveling up their game in terms of being an entrepreneur?
Just stay on the edge. You know what I mean? Don't be scared of change, and just you know, it's hard to be an entrepreneur, but it's really not. You know what I mean? It's just really just letting go of any fear you have, taking chances, be willing to fail a lot, but know that you know, if you keep persistent and keep doing what you're doing, you're gonna find your mojo. So it's just really being persistent, consistent, and as long as you do that, you'll land somewhere successful.
Yeah, I'm really an advocate of that. You know, entrepreneurship is in my DNA as well, and I think that the important message for everybody is to just know that they can do it, and you learn from failure.
Right.
That's
And
the
the
greatest.
great part about it is you don't have to be everything you don't have to be everything. Because my thing was, the beauty about our company was, there's 4 of us. And all of us had our strengths and weaknesses. And I don't think without one missing link, I don't think FUBU would have been as successful.
Right.
So you don't have to be everything. Figure out what your strengths are and what you're weak at. What you're weak at, find someone that's strong at that. If you're not a people person, partner with someone that is. If you're not a great designer, which I'm not, never was, never will be. I'm not even into fashion, to be honest with you. My friend got to take me out to buy suits because I'm not that. But, he's good at that.
Right.
That's his position. That's why he's important. And I wasn't that great at pretty much anything, but I worked my ass off. So I'd get up before everybody else. I would do things that no one else would do. That no one wanted to do. Take those rides out to so-and-so and drop this off, pick this up. So I'd do anything, all the dirt, all the hard work, I'd take that on my back because that was my position. I found my way in. So figure out what you're good at, what you can do, and those things that you're weak at, you bring those things in. And you'll all be successful together. You don't have to be the boss or the top guy. Be a part of something successful.
Yeah, I really value what you're saying about being part of something. I've heard before that if you want to be a success in a particular category, you should surround yourself with people that are greater than you or on the same path as you, because you can really learn a lot from them in that. And it seems like you have forged an award-winning partnership with your co-founders, and you all play a certain role in the success of this.
Right.
As far as the future is concerned with your company and the launch of so many different new ventures with that, do you think that in the future, and let me back up just a second here. Do you foresee the United States as being a complete adopter of cryptocurrency as a real trading vehicle and really considering it as a form of value? Because we know that countries like Switzerland have always, the banking center pretty much of the world, one of the, they've adopted, and a lot of online companies are actually providing luxury goods services and the whole acceptance of crypto. Do you think that the United States, particularly in fashion, will get to that point?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because as great as America is, don't get me wrong, I love this country.
Yeah.
But we are so tied into so many industries that have so much control over the decision-making process and so much invested in how things are now that they don't want to see change. I think it'll take us a lot longer to get there.
Yeah.
But I think we will get there eventually. I think that other countries tend to be more agile and they move more faster with the times. We have so much freedom to where we have so much say-so on what goes on with our country, it kind of slows us down.
Yeah.
But the short answer to your question is absolutely. I think it's a great investment, but I think it's not a short-term investment.
Okay.
I think it's something you got to think long-term, and there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in it. But I think that in the long term, that's where we're moving. You can't help it. Technology is moving. Gasoline is almost out of here. Electric is coming in. There's going to be so many changes to where, who carries money around with them anyway anymore? I can't remember the last time I had more than a few dollars in my wallet. So I think that it's inevitable, but I think America will be behind as opposed to being the leader.
Yeah. And you're talking about, who carries money around. It's absolutely true, especially with COVID. Who wants to touch it, right? And so just everything, the thought of everything just being, so efficient and being in a digital way, and we can exchange value in so much more of an efficient manner is appealing. And I think for every industry, and we're looking at it. We're looking at utility coins that land just about everywhere. It could be anything from entire cities being blockchain cities, and we've heard about Akon's coin and things like that. So I think at the very least, we can't look through a crystal ball and predict anything, but it probably is wise at this point for everyone to educate themselves on cryptocurrency and how it works. It's not just Bitcoin. We know that Bitcoin is basically the king of it and where it all started, but there are so many other coins out there with utility that associating it with any type of industry such as fashion and real estate and all of these other areas is probably a very wise thing, even for the smallest investor, and just understanding how it works.
Right.
We know that mail is one value, one way that things are sent. So with mail, we can place a physical value, something is sent over. And with the internet, we can say that that's a way to transfer information. And with crypto, it's a way to transfer value.
Right.
And so I think at the very least, everyone should be learning about what it is, trying to understand how it works and what it could potentially mean even for just a basic level and being prepared because COVID could very well reset every aspect of business that we have today.
I believe it has. I believe it has reset the business, how we look at business, how we operate, where we operate at. It's changed. We closed all our offices down.
Wow.
And it hasn't disrupted any of our business. So how do you, when things open back up, how do you go back to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in retail space, in office space, when you spent the whole year without it and thrived? So I think that it's made every business look at things differently, and I don't think that's going to change. That's just going to, go forward.
The whole online thing has really made it easier for us to be more interconnected anyway. And now the thought of not having that overhead for a brick and mortar space is appealing, I think, especially to the new entrepreneur.
Right.
If they leverage social media, if they leverage the fact that they could actually transfer goods a lot faster, get their merchandise in front of a broader, more specific type of target audience with higher returns, who wouldn't be interested in doing that? And so I think that the possibilities are endless, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity that could be missed.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Well, Carl, it has certainly been a pleasure having you here today with us. And
Appreciate you having me.
I can't thank you enough for joining us. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I got a Germany story.
Oh, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
My first trip to Germany, I went to I was by myself. This is probably like maybe the third time I've been on a plane. Business. We started the company. Things started taking off. We needed I was going to a trade show in Cologne, Germany.
Oh, okay.
So I went out there. Actually, I met a guy from Africa. He ended up being our distributor for Germany. So if you saw any FUBU, it came through him. But anyway, I went out there. I was by myself in the hotel at night, kind of bored. I said, man, what's going on around? I didn't find something to do. So I just went randomly walking around and everything. And I saw this small, I wouldn't call it a nightclub, like a bar. Went in there for a drink, and they said, we got Busta Rhymes performing tonight. And I was like, Busta Rhymes? I said, that can't be him. It's a little spot. Anyway, he was there. I somehow got through security and everything, went to the back room, and he said, oh, what's up, man? So he had the show where I went on stage and had the time of my life. We had the kids there were going crazy. He was just like getting on his own from the group. And it went crazy. We spent the whole night together, went out after that, met some girls, the whole thing. But it was a crazy night, man.
I got a funny story too about being in Germany. So we were in the Stuttgart area, and Europa Park had just opened. And so my family traveled over to see Europa Park. We were so excited because it was like an amusement park. We get there, and we entered into this show, and they said that the show actually featured a Michael Jackson impersonator. And I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. I mean, I had the beaded jacket, the whole thing. I was just ready. So I went in there with my family, and we were sitting there. I was about 12 years old or so, and I'm probably dating myself. And as we sat there, Michael Jackson came out, and there were people with him, and Bubbles the Chimp. And
I bet Bubbles.
I mean, and I was looking like I'm in the audience, and I'm telling my parents, that is Michael Jackson.
Like the real one, not a fake.
Right, they told you that that's an impersonator. I said, Mom, I'm telling you, that is Michael Jackson. I listen to him every day. I've seen all of his videos. I have the magazines and T-shirts. Everything. That's Michael, right? my mom and dad are like, if you don't stop. So I'm just like mad the whole time. I'm like, oh my God, that's him. He started talking. He sang. He did a brief cameo, and Bubbles was with it. Everything was happy. The Germans had smiles from here to here, and I was like, that is Michael Jackson. I'm 12 years old. So it was in the
Nobody
news.
listening to you.
Nobody listened to me. The next day, it was in the news that Michael Jackson had visited Europa Park, and they had convinced him impromptu to do this little show and be an impersonator. And of course, it was Michael Jackson.
And you know it.
That's
Yeah,
what you call a
listen to
biggest
our
fan.
kids.
I knew it was Michael. I knew it was Michael. But we had a lot of good times in Germany. I mean, there were musicians everywhere, and fashion was obviously all the time huge.
This season we would go to Europe, basically to shop.
Yeah.
We see the jean patterns, the jean structure, just different things that we think, that we see and bring it back to the States and recreate it. But with that being said, people think like America's like the trendsetter. We make things hot, but Europe, they're the ones that really create the trends.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I know people
right.
hate to hear that and say, you, what's that cultural, what's that appropriation? What's the word they use?
Yes, that's it.
The reality is, most of our styles come from Europe.
Let me tell
And
you.
we copy them all the time. But that's the fashion business. We all kind of find inspiration from each other. They look at hip hop and urban clothing, they find inspiration from us.
Yeah.
We look at their stuff and we find inspiration from them. It's kind of give and take.
And this has been for a minute. This
It's
has
been
been
forever.
for a minute.
I'm talking about, this is the 90s I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And I can tell you even, I've done some research and I was looking at the relationship between, with fashion in France and starting with the monarchs there. So we can go back to King Henry VIII and the fact that he actually enacted something called sumptuary laws, where he could only wear certain colors. And depending on your station in the court, you could only wear certain things. He was the only one that could wear purple in the royal family. And then other people had their particular color. So if you thought that you were a financially strong tailor at the time, and you got it in your mind that you were going to wear purple, you were going to be fined in jail.
Right, they're gonna check you, right?
And so they would check you on that. And he had like the most amazing clothing, the most amazing shoes, and was in competition with the King of France at that time to be the best. And they would absolutely seek the finest cloths and everything to put it together. And then those trends would eventually, as years went on, go into other areas. And then we also saw, things like even in the Caribbean, where at the time in the slave colonies, those women were told by the French that they had to wrap their hair. And so slave women were wrapping their hair, and then it became so fashionable that you saw the Creoles, or the white women that were born on these islands, going back to Paris with these chignons that were so fashionable with silk and everything, it became a trend.